Welcome to week 25 of Scott's Week in Sports Today, ladies and gentlemen. I am very happy to have my dad back this week after a 1 week hiatus last week. He was not here yet. He was at work last week. So let's get right into today's picks. First game now will be Memphis heading into Tulsa, Oklahoma to take on the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. And right now Memphis is a team that I've been very impressed with all year. Quarterback's been looking good. Offense is looking good. Give me the road Tigers by at least 10 points tonight.
I didn't even know Tulsa's mascot was a Golden Hurricane. What is a Golden Hurricane anyway?
No idea.
Memphis wins by at least 2 touchdowns.
Next up in East Lansing, Michigan, number 7 Penn State heads in to East Lansing to take on Mark D'Antonio and his Michigan State Spartans. This is going to be a pissed off Penn State team after what happened last week against Ohio State. I think they're going to be absolutely focused and ready to win this game. I'll take Penn State by at least 3 touchdowns in this game.
I agree that Penn State will win this game, but I think it'll be very, very close. I think Penn State expended a lot of energy back-to-back between Michigan and Ohio State. I think Penn State by a field goal.
Next up, number 9 Wisconsin heading into Bloomington, Indiana to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. Once again, another weak opponent for Wisconsin. Their strength of schedule has not impressed me one bit, but I'm going to take Wisconsin again to get a win in Bloomington on Saturday.
Hey, who's your daddy? It won't be the Hoosiers this week. It's going to be Wisconsin. The Badgers are too good, but it'll be a close game. Indiana plays all the Big Ten teams close.
Next up, number 14 Auburn heading into College Station and Kyle Field to take on the Texas A&M Aggies. This could be one of the last games Kevin Sumlin has as Texas A&M head coach. People were saying at the start of the year he was on the hot seat earlier on in the year after blowing a 21-point lead to UCLA back in week 1. But he's got him back on track. But I don't think he's going to continue that this week. Give me Gus Malzahn and the road Auburn Tigers to get the win tomorrow in College Station.
Man, I hate to agree with you yet again, but I think Auburn's got too much talent. But it will be a close game on the road against Texas A&M.
Next up, the University of Massachusetts Minutemen head into Starkville, Mississippi to take on Dan Mullen and his Mississippi State Bulldogs. This is a team I think is a little over-ranked right now. I think they should be a little bit lower in the rankings. I think UCF should be a little bit higher up ahead of them just because they have Mississippi State has 2 losses out there.
You're not picking UMass, are you?
I am not picking UMass. I will be taking Mississippi State. I think Dan Mullen and Mississippi State are going to get the win here. Nice and easy at home over UMass.
I disagree. I think Mississippi State is underranked if anything. I mean, Mississippi State's got a good team, and they are going to roll against UMass.
Next up, Will Muschamp and his South Carolina Gamecocks head into Athens, Georgia, between the head juice to take on the number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. This game could be over at halftime. I think this game could be possibly over at halftime. But I think South Carolina's defense will keep it close for a little while. But I think the running game of Sonny Michel and Nick Chubb will be too much. Georgia will get the win nice and easy tomorrow against South Carolina.
I agree. I think Georgia is going to struggle a little bit early. I think the number 1 ranking is going to go to their head. I think South Carolina will stick around for half, and then I think Georgia will pull away in the second half.
Next up, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons head into Notre Dame, Indiana to take on the number 3 ranked actually, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This is a Notre Dame team I'm kind of on the fence with right now. Their strength of schedule looks really good to me, but they are in a non-conference. They don't have any conference play, so that's the only thing that I think could keep them out. But their strength of schedule looks very good all the way through this season. So I'll take Notre Dame at home over Wake Forest on Saturday.
Most years Notre Dame's overhyped. This year is not one of those years. Notre Dame is legitimate top 4 team. Only loss is a very close game to a very good Georgia team. Notre Dame wins this one big.
Next up, number 4 Clemson heading in to Raleigh, North Carolina to take on the number 20 NC State Wolfpack. NC State was inside the top 20 last week before getting absolutely humiliated last week by Notre Dame. So I think it's going to be another humiliating loss for NC State this week. Give me Kelly Bryant, Dabo Swinney, and the road Auburn Clemson Tigers to get the win over NC State.
I do not think Clemson will humiliate NC State, but I do think they will win on the road. I think it'll be a 10-point game.
Next up, number 6 Ohio State heading into Iowa City to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. And it could be a trap game for Ohio State after a big win last week against Penn State. Could be a little bit of a letdown, but I think that Iowa's going to hang in there for about 3 quarters, and then Urban Meyer's going to turn on the gas and get the win on the road in Iowa City tomorrow against the Hawkeyes.
To all those Big Ten and Iowa fans out there, you mark this. I'm picking Iowa as an upset winner over Ohio State. Remember, Penn State went in and barely beat Iowa. I think Iowa wins this game. I think Ohio State has a letdown game, and Iowa comes out with my upset special for the week.
Next up, number 15 Iowa State heading into Morgantown, West Virginia to take on Will Greer in the West Virginia Mountaineers. This could be the upset of the week here. West Virginia's been playing very, very well all season, but I just don't see it happening. Iowa State's a very good team all year. That win against Oklahoma didn't really impress me that much because I didn't know what Iowa State was about back then. But now I know exactly who they are, and that is a very good team. So I'll be taking Iowa State on the road against West Virginia in Morgantown on Saturday.
I think that's a good pick, but I think West Virginia is actually going to get the win at home. I think Iowa State had an emotional win against TCU last week. I don't think they can put it together back-to-back week. I think West Virginia outscores Iowa State this week.
Next up, number 21, Stanford heading into Pullman, Washington to take on Luke Falk and the Washington State Cougars. Bryce Love should be back this week for Stanford after missing out last week on Thursday night. So I think that could lead Stanford to the win. But I'm taking a little bit of an upset and taking Washington State at home. Luke Falk has been, like I've been saying all year, falling good all year. And I think he'll continue to look good. Luke Falk and Washington State will get the win over Stanford.
Is this a PG-rated show? So anyway, I would probably agree with Scott on that one. I think Washington State's a very good home team. I think that they will outscore Stanford, but it'll be a close game.
Next up, number 5, Oklahoma, heading in to Stillwater to take on number 11, Oklahoma State. Bedlam once again, and the college game day will be there tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And Oklahoma's won the last 14 of the last 15 when both teams have been ranked inside the top 25. So I'm thinking it's going to make that 15 out of 16. Baker Mayfield's been looking impressive ever since that loss to Iowa State. And I think that Oklahoma pulls it off in Stillwater on Saturday against Oklahoma State.
Not so fast, my friend. I think Oklahoma's defense is going to be shredded this week. I think Oklahoma State is just going to outscore Oklahoma and get the win at home.
Next up, the University of Texas Longhorns heading in to Fort Worth to take on the TCU Horned Frogs. TCU's been looking very good all season, and I think that this could be another nice home win for them. And I think that it will be. This team has been looking very impressive all year. Kenny Hill's been looking very good as quarterback. One of my sleepers this year in the draft is Kenny Hill. I think he's a late draft pick that could do some things in the NFL. So give me the home of Horned Frogs over Texas.
I think TCU is going to be a little disappointed after losing to Iowa State and being out of the national championship picture, most likely. I think you can have a little bit of a letdown. I think you're going to win in a really close game against Texas, only because they're at home.
Next up, number 18, UCF heading into Dallas to take on SMU. This is probably the last hurdle UCF has to get over to get into Black Friday undefeated, in my opinion. And I think UCF gets over the hurdle closer than the experts think. This is going to be a very good SMU team here. They only have 2 losses on the year. They've been very impressive all season, but I think UCF's going to pull it out late. And UCF in that defense will find a way to keep it close enough, and the offense will find a way to get the win in the late quarters. So give me the Road Knights.
I agree. I think UCF's going to win this game. I do think it'll be a close game. I think SMU is an underrated team, but give me UCF to hopefully go undefeated this whole season.
Next up, LSU heading in to Tuscaloosa to take on Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. This is the first tough game that Alabama's had all season, and I think this is going to be a pissed-off Nick Saban team after getting jumped by Georgia last week. I think that is going to be a humiliating thing for Nick Saban to think of, and I think that they are going to absolutely pound LSU this week. Alabama wins by at least 3 touchdowns over LSU.
For those parents out there, this is officially a PG-13 show now, after Scott's language there. Anyways, I think Alabama will win this, and they'll win this big. I don't think LSU is that great of a team.
Next up, at Hard Rock Stadium, one of the best games of the weekend, as number 13 Virginia Tech head in to take on number 10 Miami. This is going to be a very good game. Josh Jackson's been looking good, as has Malik Rosier for Miami. Both quarterbacks are very good, but I'm going to give the home field advantage and the win to Miami. I think Malik Rosier has been a very surprising quarterback this year. I wasn't sure how they were going to do without Brad Kaya this year at Miami, but Rosier stepped in and done very, very well. So I'll be taking the home Canes.
I think Miami's been getting lucky this year, winning a lot of close, lucky games. I think this week they get exposed. Virginia Tech goes into Hard Rock Stadium and gets the win.
Next up, the unranked Oregon Ducks heading to Seattle to take on the number 12 ranked Washington Huskies. Give me the home Huskies in this game. Their quarterback's been looking very impressive all season, and I think that they will find a way to get a home win against a very good Oregon team this weekend. So give me the home Huskies.
I agree. Washington wins, and they win by at least 10 points.
Next up, in LA, at the Coliseum, as number 22 Arizona heads in to take on Sam Darnold and the number 17 ranked USC Trojans. And I think Sam Darnold's going to be very focused in this game. And I think Sam Darnold and USC will get the home win over Arizona this weekend. It should be a very interesting game to watch. But give me USC at home over Arizona.
The first thing you almost said there, give me Arizona. That was actually right. You should have picked Arizona. Arizona's got the momentum. USC's disappointed because they're out of the national title picture. Arizona's got more to play for. Arizona goes on the road and gets the win.
Now on to the NFL picks for the weekend. Another very impressive Thursday night game last night.
I'm going to pick the Jets.
The Jets pulled off a nice win over the Bills.
In a blowout win.
34-21.
Oh, the game's already played?
I went to bed and it was 34-3, 34-7 when I went to bed. And then it became 34-21. And so that was a very interesting game to watch.
What's your bedtime, 9?
I went to bed at like 11.
Oh.
So the first game out on the weekend will be the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Flacco might be playing again this weekend, but I don't know. We'll see about that as they head into Nashville to take on Marcus Mariota and the Titans. Give me the home Titans. Mariota's been looking very good all season, and I think that the Titans will get the home win over Baltimore by at least 10 points.
Baltimore is just like the NFL, unpredictable. With that said, I'm going to take the Titans at home, but it would not surprise me if Baltimore went in there and won that game.
Next up, the 2-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers will head in to New Orleans and Mercedes-Benz Superdome to take on the 5-2 New Orleans Saints. The Bucs are winless on the road this season, and I unfortunately think it's going to continue right here. I think that defense is just going to get exposed by Drew Brees in this New Orleans offense. Because like I said, I'm going to keep on picking against the Bucs until they prove me wrong, and they haven't yet. So I'm going to take the home Saints.
Unfortunately, I have to admit this. The Bucs are bad. They're a bad team. New Orleans is a team on the rise. New Orleans is going to win this by 2 touchdowns.
Next up at MetLife Stadium, the LA Rams head in to New York to take on Eli Manning and the Giants. I'm looking for a big game from Todd Gurley here, and I think I'll get it. Todd Gurley is going to expose this Giant defense. Pretty good run defense for the Giants, but I think Todd Gurley's going to have a field day here. Give me the road Rams over the Giants.
I agree. I think the Rams will win on the road. I think it'll be a close game, though, since they're going from west to east. But I do like the Rams in this game.
Next up, the Denver Broncos heading in to Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to take on the NFC leading Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have been very impressive all year long. Carson Wentz has been looking good. This defense is looking really good. And they just got J.J. at the trade deadline. So that could really help out that run game because Wendell Smallwood is not working out, and neither are any of those running backs in Philly. So I think J.J. is really going to help out that running game. And I think that could lead the Eagles to a Super Bowl this year. But I'm still going to take the home Eagles to get the win over the Broncos this weekend.
I agree. I think Philadelphia is the best team in the NFC. I think they're going to win the NFC and get into the Super Bowl. I think Carson Wentz is an amazing second-year quarterback, and I agree the addition of Ajayi is going to help them immensely.
Next up, the Atlanta Falcons heading into Charlotte, North Carolina to take on Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers. This is a divisional game, and the Falcons have been up and down all year, and the Panthers just cannot seem to get an offense going. And they just traded Kelvin Benjamin to Buffalo, which I found very surprising. But I think the Falcons are going to get the road win here in Charlotte. I think Matt Ryan's going to do just enough here to get the win in Charlotte over the Panthers on Sunday. Give me the road Falcons.
I can't figure out either one of these teams, so I'm just going to go with the home team and take the Panthers.
Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals heading in to Everbank Field to take on Blake Bortles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe this is an odd-numbered week, Dad, right?
Yes, it is.
So I will happily take the Jacksonville Jaguars because it seems like they do not lose on odd-numbered weeks, and then they just get pummeled on even-numbered weeks. So I'll be taking the home Jaguars over Cincinnati. Andy Dalton's going to be on the grass a couple times in this game. Give me the home Jags.
That is really dumb reasoning, but you know what? I'm going to follow that same reasoning as well. I'm going to take the Jags.
Next up, the Indianapolis Colts head into Houston to take on the Houston Texans. And Texans fans, my heart's go out to you guys. I'm so sorry for your loss yesterday.
Someone die?
Deshaun Watson is out for the season. Absolutely heartbreaking. I had you guys possibly making the Super Bowl with Watson, but we'll see about that next year. But this is actually going to open the door for me to pick the upset. Give me the road Colts. I think Jacoby Brissett's going to be the better quarterback here over Tom Savage, and I think that he has some better weapons down there. So give me the road Colts.
I think the Texans are going to be reeling from their loss, but I still think at home they're going to get a win. They're going to be feeding off of the Astros' victory, and so I think the Texans are going to beat the Colts in a close one.
Next up, the Arizona Cardinals heading in to Levi Stadium and San Francisco, California to take on the winless San Francisco 49ers, but not for long. I am taking the home Niners. I think the Niners are going to have just enough defense in this game to keep it close enough, and then the run game of Matt Breida and the Niner offense will be just enough to get the win. Give me the home Niners.
I like that pick, but I'm not going with it. I'm going to go with the Cardinals in a very close game. I think the Niners seem cursed. They get every game close, and they just lose at the end.
But they did lose in overtime the last time they met.
Fair
and
enough.
that was with Carson Palmer in, and now he's out. So
You make a good point. I don't stand with my pick.
next up, the Washington Redskins heading in to CenturyLink Field and the 12th man to take on Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson was a dreamboat for me last week on my fantasy team. He did absolutely phenomenal for me last week. Hopefully he does it again this week. Give me the home Seahawks over the Redskins.
I think this will be a close game. I think the Redskins are actually a better team than the Seahawks, but they're playing on the road in Seattle, and Wilson is getting hot at the right time. So I like the Seahawks in this one.
Next up at AT&T Stadium, the 6-2 Kansas City Chiefs will head in to Dallas and Jerry's World to take on the 4-3 Dallas Cowboys. Zeke Elliott is able to play once again this week. I do not know what's going on with this thing with Elliott, but I'm still going to stick with what I said earlier in the week. Give me the road Chiefs. Kareem Hunt hasn't found the end zone in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I think he finally finds his best friend once again in the end zone, and the Chiefs get the win over the Cowboys.
I'm going to go the other way. I think the Cowboys are going to get a win at home. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Chiefs are going to stumble though on the road.
Next up on Sunday Night Football, as Derek Carr and the Oakland Raiders head into Hard Rock Stadium to take on possibly Jay Cutler and the Miami Dolphins. I don't know why they picked this game for Sunday Night Football this week. Both teams are average right now, so I'm going to take Derek Carr and the road Raiders in this game. The Raiders have been getting better since the return of Derek Carr. So give me the road Raiders on the road to get the win over the Dolphins.
Cutler's just horrible. Let's just be honest. He's got a bad attitude. He has arm talent. That's it. I picking the Raiders. Derek Carr, he's got talent all over the place.
Next up, it's finally time for Monday Night Football as the Detroit Lions head into Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin to take on Brett Hundley and the Green Bay Packers. This is a tough pick because I can't trust either one of these teams to get a win on Monday night. But I'm going to take the home field advantage. Give me the home pack. Brett Hundley's had another week to practice in that Mike McCarthy offense, and I think that he will do just that. He was pretty good in college, so we'll see how he does in the NFL. But I will take Brett Hundley and the home Packers.
Eric Taylor, if you're watching this one, I'm picking this one for you. I'm picking the Lions to win on the road against the Packers.
And that will do it for this episode of Scott's Weekly Sports Today, ladies and gentlemen. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave a nice comment down below and subscribe if you're new. And congratulations to the Houston Astros on winning their first ever World Series championship. And I'll see you guys right back here next week on YouTube. Right here on Scott's Weekly Sports, right here on YouTube. I will see you guys next week. See you later, guys.
See you guys.